Hello and welcome to another episode of the Field of 68's off-season grades. My name is Rob Doster. I have Jeff Goodman here with me, and today we are going to be breaking down the off-season of the Kentucky Wildcats. And Jeff, I'll tell you this. Let's go into what changed first. Kirk Reese is gone. Travis Perry is gone. Both of them transferred. Andrew Carr, Jackson Robertson, Amari Williams, and Lamont Butler all graduated. Kentucky has added out of the portal Jalen Lowe from Pitt, Denzel Aberdeen from Florida, Mohamed Diabate from Alabama, Jaden Quaintance from Arizona State, Cam Williams from Tulane, as well as two freshmen in Jasper Johnson and Malachi Moreno. And a couple of other pieces, Andre Yelovich, Brandon Hawthorne, Reese Potter, who are probably not going to be as important. Most importantly, Otega Oweh's back, Brandon Garrison is back, Colin Chandler is back, and Trevor Noah is back as well. I'll be
How
honest.
much, hey, how much did you donate to the collective, the Kentucky collective? I mean, they had all this money. I figured maybe you gave a little bit of money or something.
I didn't get donated to, but when Field of 68 announced that my name was in the portal, I did get a call from an unnamed member of the Kentucky coaching staff offering me a spot on the
This is
roster.
true.
They did not pay as much as Field of 68 pays. So unfortunately, I had to turn them down and returning. I thought I owed it a level of loyalty to the Field of 68 based off of what this organization showed me after I got fired. So I could not commit to the Wildcats, but I heard their recruiting pitch, and I now understand why all of these guys ended up going there.
It's like, I mean, last year was so important, right? That Mark Pope get momentum right away. There was obviously electricity and a welcome change when John Calipari left. But Mark Pope wasn't their first choice. He was one of their own, and they rallied behind him. But I think even then, a year ago now, a lot of us and Kentucky fans were still like playing the what if game. Like, we're not sure. We're hopeful. We love him. He's got great energy, positive energy, all that. But we don't know. Well, they came out of the gate strong and got momentum last year, then got money, which is no surprise, although they got more money than everybody else in the offseason to use for their roster, and put together a roster that's deeper than anybody else in America, especially on the perimeter, Rob. Like, it is an embarrassment of riches on the perimeter for this Kentucky team. I mean, we saw Trent Noah go off last year in the first half against Tennessee. And I don't know how Trent Noah gets on the court much this year. I hope he does. He's kind of a local kid who the crowd went crazy for. We loved those moments when he made those threes in the first half. But like Jalen Lowe, as you said, Otega Oweh comes back. Denzel Aberdeen transfers in from a national title at Florida. Then you bring back Colin Chandler, who's got a ton of talent. Everybody wanted him coming out of high school before he went on his mission. Jasper Johnson, one of the most regarded freshman wings in the country. And then Trent Noah. Like, that's a lot. Cam Williams, one of the best pure shooters in the portal coming from Tulane. That's 7 dudes, Rob, on the perimeter that all want playing time. I don't know how this guy keeps him happy, Mark Pope, but man, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I'm not as when we had our initial reaction, I can't remember what it was to. It might have been to the Denzel Aberdeen commitment. When we recorded the reaction video to that, I remember thinking that same thing. And I dove a little deeper on some of the numbers. And the thing about Pope has been he's not afraid to go deep on his bench. He's not afraid to play 10 or 11 guys. And when you play at pace and you get up a lot of shots, there's going to be a lot of guys that get in there, whether it's for 17, 18 minutes, that are still going to be getting off 3, 4, 5 threes a game, that are going to get some shots up. And I think if that is the case, if you play those pieces, I'm not as concerned about that. I actually have, again, I want to qualify this by saying I think Kentucky is a preseason top 8 team in America, maybe even higher than that, right? Maybe even top 5. Um, there are there are some concerns that I have that maybe concern might be too strong, but there are things that I think I kind of want to see play out based off of what this roster looks like right now. So Pope has been to the tournament 3 times. We're going to call it 4 because he was a top 15 team in America in 2020 when the tournament didn't happen. I'm counting that as a trip to the tournament, right? Those teams all averaged being top 14 in adjusted offensive efficiency on KenPom and 50-ish in adjusted defensive efficiency on KenPom. Kind of what last year's roster looked like, right? Each of those teams took at least 35% of their field goal attempts from 3, including 38% last year and 42% in 2020, which was the best team that Pope has had according to KenPom's metrics, right? His 2 best teams at Utah Valley were similar, better offensively than they were defensively, relied on a lot of threes. That's kind of like when Pope's at his best, that is the structure of the team that you're looking at. And I don't know if this team is necessarily built that way, right? Lowe shot 26% from 3 on more than 5 attempts per game. Otega Owe, fantastic player, shot 36% from 3. He is not a shooter. I don't even think Otega Owe would tell you he's a shooter, right? That's not what he does best. He's best getting to the rim, trying to draw fouls, penetrating. Diabate, not a shooter. Quaintance, not a shooter. Denzel Aberdeen played 20 minutes a game last year, shot 2.5 threes per game at a 35% clip.
Decent shooter.
Yeah, he can make them. I would say he's a guy that can make threes. I wouldn't call him a shooter. Cam Williams.
Your best shooters, your best 3 shooters are the 3 guys that probably are going to play the least amount of minutes. Right now, looking at it off the bench in the perimeter.
Yeah, Cam Williams, Colin Chandler, Trent Noah. And I think that all of them, they might end up being behind Jasper Johnson on the perimeter as
I mean,
well.
one of them's going to have to play for spacing. One of them's going to have to play like 20 plus minutes. One of those 3 guys is going to have to emerge. I would assume it'll be Cam Williams or Colin Chandler.
I think both of them. My guess, Jeff, is that the guy that sees his minutes cut is Trent Noah, and that we get some structure where Jalen Lowe, Otega Owe, and Aberdeen play 25-ish minutes. Chandler, Jasper Johnson.
I think Aberdeen could. I think Aberdeen
could take over the point guard role
as much. I think Aberdeen could get what he got at Florida. I think he could have the same role.
Yeah, and I also don't know if it'd be the craziest thing in the world to think that Aberdeen could take over some point guard minutes from Jalen Lowe if he's going to be the guy that makes threes and Lowe does not. So that's a long-winded way of saying that the talent on the roster is there, but I question whether or not the talent that has been put together can play the way that Mark Pope has proven to be successful. Now, that doesn't mean he can't adjust. That doesn't mean that maybe we just haven't seen Aberdeen be able to take advantage of that shooting ability yet. That doesn't mean maybe Cam Williams steps up a level, 6'8" shooter. Jackson Robinson, kind of a body type mold that he can step in and be a guy that averages 14 a game. Maybe he steps in and starts over Denzel Aberdeen once things are all kind of said and done, right? Doesn't mean any of that can't happen. It just means if you were going to put together a perfect roster for Mark Pope, I don't think that this is necessarily what that roster would look like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think I remember saying that last year differently. Obviously, it was very different, but you had guys, remember Lamont Butler and Maury Williams that could defend. Mm-hmm. You had guys who could score. We were wondering whether the pieces would fit. He made the pieces fit. Can he do the same thing this year? Yeah, you're right. Like, collectively, they have to be a good shooting team. And part of that is going to be based on the way Mark Pope runs his offense.
Yes.
Like moving the basketball, getting guys easier looks, getting guys uncontested looks, rather than Jalen Lowe forcing something.
That's the other part of it. It's like, was Jalen Lowe's, are his numbers what they were because of the fact that he was putting a lot of like ball screens where he's creating something for himself, as opposed to being put in that offense where all of a sudden you're getting much easier looks because of the way that the system operates. So yes, trust me, I get all that. I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's the most seamless fit in the world. It's not like Oscar Clough getting put onto Purdue's roster where you say, okay, yeah, right, that's obvious why that.
You know what the good thing is? He's got so many options here that I think he can figure out a starting group that probably, it may take him a while. I don't think they're going to come out of the gates like they did last year. I think if Kentucky fans, Big Blue Nation's thinking that way, that they're in for a little bit of a rude awakening this year. I think it's going to take a little more time. They got fortunate. Remember, they won a couple games they shouldn't win early. Remember, they pulled out a couple wins that they pulled out of their ass early, got that momentum. I think they could struggle a little bit early until Mark Pope figures out kind of the fit of these guys, who fits together, because he does have a lot of options here, which again, I think Pope will figure it out. But I mean, the other part of this we haven't talked about is Jaden Quinton's when he returns, right? He's coming off that ACL I think he had surgery in March.
Yeah, this was this is my X factor for them. Is
okay,
exactly what you're going to get into. So
yeah. Jaden Quinton is a beast. He's young, he's coachable, he is a man-child. He rebounds, he produces. He had to be in college for 2 years. Well, he tore his ACL. That didn't help, but because he wasn't eligible after 1 year to go, even if he wanted to. Transferred from Arizona State. But man, like, they need him. And the question is, when does he come back and when is he 100%? To me, there's no rush. That's the beauty of Mark Pope's roster. There's zero rush. In fact, I almost think it's better not to rush him back because you're going to keep people happier early. The Brandon Garrisons and obviously Diabate, you and I both love because the dude does all the dirty work, right? Not much of a shooter, but man, he just does all the dirty work. Undersized four-man who just plays hard as shit. Quinton plays hard as shit. But I almost feel like it's better not to rush him back in November, get him back for like January 1st, and make sure he's 100%. And then he has 6 weeks to shake off the rust till mid-February when he's back to what he was.
If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for the season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Go download the BetMGM app and use the code FIELD today. Yeah, that's my guess on how it's going to end up playing out. And the thing about Quaintance is, you mentioned it. He enrolled in college. Like he kind of did what Cooper Flagg did, what Elliot Cadeau did, what Jeremiah Fears did, and he was playing at Arizona State. He wasn't on a team that was as nationally relevant, but he's still a guy that averaged 9 points, 8 rebounds, 2.5 blocks, and shot better than 50% from the floor. And if you go and you look at the mock drafts, he is a guy that is being projected as a potential top 10 pick because of that talent. And to me, it's not just if he will be back. It is, 1, when does he come back? 2, how long does it take him to get up to speed and being his best self? And 3, when all of this happens in the middle of the season, how does that impact the rotation? How does that impact the happiness of some of the guys that would be playing in front of him before that? And how does that impact the locker room? Like you mentioned, the amount of depth on the perimeter and someone not being happy about minutes. I am much more concerned about the impact of Jaden Quaintance coming back and changing the minutes that guys in front of him got early on in the season than I am with trying to talk Trent Noah into being happy about playing.
Yeah, because Trent Noah
minutes a game or whatever.
Trent Noah's going to get what he signed up for, right? Trent Noah pretty much knows what he's going to get, but
he was a fun story.
Right.
But he was a fun story.
Trent Noah, it's not Trent Noah. It's Cam Williams or Colin Chandler, Jasper Johnson, one of those guys. It's not Trent Noah. Up front, you're right. Like Garrison, Diabate, they're thinking early on they're going to get minutes that they're probably not going to get. Can I give you a few tidbits that I think Big Blue Nation's going to love about Quaintance? And this is why, part of the reason why I just think like his teammates are going to love him when he comes back. They're not going to be like jealous or envious. Like I had a coach tell me he's as good a kid as he's ever coached. Okay, number 1, as good as he's ever coached. Number 2, gets up every day and runs a mile. When comes back comes back at night and shoots. Only drinks water, not on social media, reads books, big time chess player, has never smoked or had a drink. Like, this kid is elite level character wise, elite. And
Can I just add, he was up every morning. He only drank water. He never smoked. He never had a drink, and he did all of that while spending a year as a basketball player, making a ton of NIL at
yes,
Arizona State.
yes, right.
Yeah.
Think of the distractions that are in front of him in Tempe, Arizona. They always say like the hardest part of Arizona State as a coach is like when the kids would come in to visit, all those distractions, they would be like, yeah, I want to go here because obviously of the girls and all the other things here. And it's so hard to keep them focused. Jaden Quaintance had no issue staying focused. So he's going to be great at Kentucky when he gets healthy. There's going to be zero issue. And that's where I think their front court's going to be awesome, Rob. Because Garrison, you know, he gives him something different, right? He can step out and make threes. He's long. He's athletic. He runs the court. He was great with Amari Williams. They were like freaking frack. Like they were very different big men in what they
They
provided.
were frickin' frack.
Something like that. I don't know. I just used that. It sounded good. Sounded
Yeah,
good.
the one thing I'll just add on Quaintance is he did average more assists per game than Denzel Aberdeen did. He shot a couple threes per game. I think that there's the impact that he's going to have right off the bat is going to be as a defender first and foremost, right? And then beyond that, I think that he is a guy that has the potential to be a very real, like, away from the basket kind of high post playmaker.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be the ball handler that Amari Williams was, but I think that his passing ability is similar to what Amari Williams could be, and the way that they use him in the offense will be similar to that. And then who's the big kid that was at BYU that went to
Khalifa.
Louisville? Yeah, Ali
Khalifa.
Khalifa. Ali Khalifa was with Mark Pope in 2024 at BYU. Like
That's how he used it.
that's the way that Quentin is going to be used, and it's that passing ability that he has,
Yep.
and that vision and the skill away from the basket that is going to make him so valuable and is so appealing for him as like a long-term NBA prospect. And that's why they need to get him back. All due respect to Brandon Williams, I think that Quaintance is better at that part of the game than Brandon Garrison is at this point. So what expectations for this group? Because to me, like the
Did
expectations.
you ask me my X factor? You never even asked me. You just gave me your acquaintance X
Gave
factor,
it,
and
right?
you just bypassed my X
So
factor.
what's your X factor?
Um, Probably point guard play. Probably Jalen Lowe. Can he be that guy? Can he be that guy that transitions from being the guy at Pittsburgh, right? Who was hungry to score? Can he go from that mindset to, we talked about this earlier a little bit, can he go from that mindset to understanding I'm not going to average 17 a game. I'm average 12 or 13 a game, but I'm going to be more. He can pass. I mean, he's got it in him to be a terrific passer, Rob. So can he change that mentality this year? I think he can. I think if there's any coach that, what is Mark Pope great at? Other than, again, offense, what is he great at doing, Rob?
Adjusting what he does and getting guys to be able to play in the
Yes.
system that he wants to
Yes.
play.
Yes. Reaching players, figuring out what buttons to push with each player to get them to buy into their roles in a very different way. Calipari did that very differently than Mark Pope does it, right? Cal would bitch and moan and yell and jump and put his arm around him. Pope is more often than not going to put his arm around him, talk to him, not get on him, not MF him. That's not Pope. So I think Jalen Lowe's transition from a hunter as a point guard to a distributor is going to be the key for this Kentucky team.
Yep. You know what's crazy about this? And we are now almost 20 minutes into this episode, and we've like just glossed over the fact that Otega Oweh, who I'm going through the list, he might be the preseason player of the year in the SEC.
Sure.
I don't know who you're taking over him. I just kind of went through like maybe Tahad Pettiford, maybe Josh Hubbard.
I think
There's
it's open. I think it's
yeah,
wide open.
but preseason player of the year, you got a guy coming back who averaged 16 points a game at Kentucky, who's going to be the preseason favorite to win the conference or one of the preseason favorites to win the conference. Like we haven't really talked about his return. Like you're getting the preseason player of the year and a potential
Because you don't
preseason
worry
player of the year
about
in the
him.
conference
You
back.
you put him in there and you just say, Ortega, do what you do and do it
Mhm.
well. Don't try to do more. Don't try to be something you're not, right? Just be Ortega away.
Mhm.
Be that MF or be that guy that can get downhill and make things happen and defend and be a dog.
Yeah. Like so he had a couple games and a couple shots last year. Like the close against Oklahoma when they played in Norman when I think he scored the last 18 points and had a game winner. He had a game winning bucket against Oklahoma in the SEC tournament. Um, he had I think it was 24 against Ole Miss. He went from being a guy where we had very real questions about what his adjustment to a bigger role would be. Like when he got there, I was like, okay, like I love Otega Owe. I've loved him since I saw him play for team final with Jalen Duren
Yeah.
and Amani Bates and those guys at Peach Jam in 2021. I had very real questions about how a dude that was at his best as a defender, getting to the rim, drawing fouls, being that slasher type would fit with an offense like Mark Pope's, and it fit almost seamlessly. I'm really excited to see what he could be this upcoming season. And I remember when he got to Oklahoma, I had a conversation with your guy Fran Fischilla about how um, Otega Owe needs to buy into like the Buddy Healed growth chart, right? Start off as a role guy, develop your offense, then become a shooter. I don't know if I'm not saying he's going to evolve into a 25 point per game, shooting 50% on 10 threes per game, kind of a national player of the year candidate. But
He's
I mean,
growing.
yeah, make 35% on 5 3-pointers a game, and all of a sudden Otega Owe is a first team All American playing in Mark Pope's system. And getting that back, we'll get into the offseason grade in a second, but getting Otega Owe back is a huge part of what my offseason grade is for Kentucky. And I wanted to make sure that we talked about that instead of just kind of glossing over the fact like, oh yeah, the best player in the SEC just so happened to come back to a program in the SEC. Your expectations for Kentucky this year are?
I mean, with a payroll bigger than anybody else in the country and a roster that's deeper than anybody's in the country, coming off what they did a year ago, I think you have to say, hey, top 10 all year for the most part. You drop out here or there for a couple of weeks, but you want top 10-ish all year, and you better get to the Elite Eight, Elite Eight, Final Four aspirations, national title aspirations are there. But I think anything short of a deep tournament run will be ultra disappointing with this payroll and this roster.
Yeah, I think I have them as I think I have them fifth in my preseason top 25. They're going to be a consensus preseason top 10 team. Um, they're going to be right there with Florida and Arkansas and Alabama and Auburn and all the rest in the SEC as the favorite to win it. Uh, the SEC this season is going to be one of those conferences where like the ball bounces this way a couple different times, and this team will be 16-4 and win the league versus this team was 14-6 and finished in eighth place. Um, but competing for an SEC championship in the mix in the second weekend to be able to get to the Final Four. Honestly, like if you're for a Kentucky fan, they're looking at this roster and saying our expectation is to win a national championship.
Yes.
Um, to me, national champions this year are going to run through either Purdue or Houston. I think that those are the two teams above everybody else by a decent margin. But Kentucky certainly has enough weapons to win it, especially if Quaintance comes back and is as good as a lot of people think that he has a chance to end up being. So, yeah, offseason grade for me. I I went with an A. I don't know how, given what they lost, right? Given that you're going to be losing Lamont Butler because of graduation, Andrew Carr because of Jackson Route. Given that those guys were graduating, there's not much you can do about that. I don't know how much better you could have done this offseason.
I mean, it's hard to argue. The only thing I'll say is with a payroll of, whatever it was, 18, 20, $22 million, I'll give it an A minus. It's really good, but again, you're not ranking them number one. And with a payroll of 18, 20, 22, whatever it is, clearly number one payroll by a significant margin, Rob. How do you give them an A if they don't have the best roster? If you're not saying they're preseason number one, how are you giving them an A? That's where I give them an A minus.
And they weren't getting Braden Smith from Purdue. And as long as Braden Smith and TKR were coming back to Purdue, there was no chance that anybody else was going to be number one. Two, as soon as Milos Uzan said that he was going back to Houston, Houston automatically became 1B for me. And you weren't going to get Milos Uzan from Houston, right? Like
you said, you have him eighth, though. You said you have him eighth.
Who? Kentucky? No, I have. No, I have them. I have them fifth. I think they're going to be consensus top 10, right? Yeah. And like beyond that, like I think I have Florida 3. But I could be talked into Kentucky being above Florida. Like I don't think that they're.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm playing.
No, I got you. But it's why. But so I have Purdue. Just for spoiler alert, I gave Purdue an A++, and I gave Houston an A+. So I think once you get past like a perfect offseason, Kentucky's right there. And here's the other part of it that I don't think anyone's going to mention. Right, you got Oweh back. Your biggest rival in the conference might be Florida, and you know what you did? You went and you pulled Denzel Aberdeen off the roster. You know who your other biggest rival might be? Alabama. You went and you pulled Mohamed Diabate off their roster. So not only
did you. Yes, let's not act like Denzel Aberdeen was friggin' Walter Clayton Jr. either.
He wasn't, but Florida wanted him back. And Kentucky went over and said, hey, you know what?
I know, but
he come over here.
Last I checked, Walter Clayton Jr. and Elijah Martin were the guys that were playing all the minutes there. So I like Aberdeen. I just wonder if he's just still best served, which he could be, as a really good piece coming off the bench at Kentucky. That could be, to be honest, that could be where he thrives. At the end of the day, your best lineup could be, Lowe and Oweh are going to be there, right? You know those two are going to be there. You know you're going to have Quaintance at the end of the year, right? Those three, you'd be shocked if they're not on the court for 30-plus minutes and in crunch time when it matters. Diabate, like, I'd be surprised if he's not on the court just because he plays so damn hard and does all those little things. My question to you would be, if Aberdeen could shoot it at a high level, maybe he's that guy. But if not, I don't know. Could a Cam Williams, could a Colin Chandler be that guy for the spacing at the end of the day?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. It could be. That's something that we'll see kind of play out as the season goes. But I think we both agree Kentucky's going to be in the mix for an SEC championship. They should be in the mix for a Final Four and a national championship. And if that does happen, I would not complain, Goodman. I would not complain in the slightest about a Final Four in Indianapolis featuring both Purdue and Kentucky. Throw Louisville in the mix too. Like, woo, buddy, I'm here. Don't threaten me with a good time.
It's funny. I've had a little bit of an about term with Big Blue Nation now. Like they don't dislike me. I got people coming up to me now and saying like, "Hey, you were right all along about Cal," and it's a little different now. It's a little different for me. And in the old days, it was like, man, they go to the Final Four and I get yelled at everywhere I walked around. Now I feel like it's 50% still hate.
Yep, you're now allowed in Lexington, but you're never going to be able to eat Tyson chicken again. It's
good point.
It's
not for a while at least.
You win some, you lose some, Goodman. Listen, Correct. This has been fun. Always great to catch up. For the people that are watching this, we will be rolling out 45 or so of these. The exact number is TBD, but every day between now and the end of August and maybe early September as well, we will be dropping episodes of the off-season grades here on the Field of 68. So make sure you tune in, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe anywhere you get podcasts for free. For Goodman, my name is Rob Doster. We'll see you guys on the next episode.